Let us know, Julie. Okay. Good morning, Don Briggs, Mayor of Emmitsburg. Today on our podcast here, the 6th of May, CA's de Mayo. I think I got that right. Is Congressman Trone, 6th District of Maryland. And he brings with him quite a resume, private, growing up, and also what he's done for our area right here now. He's addiction crisis, criminal justice, and medical research are where he really is centering most of his focus at this time. He co-chaired a bipartisan addiction and mental health task force in Congress, which is quite unique, the bipartisan element there. Proudly secured an $850,000 grant for behavioral health crisis stabilization center in Frederick, $1.5 million for Asian American Center in Frederick, and over $530,000 for flood mitigation project during Modern Avenue during FY22's community project funding. You have quite a history of chicken and hog farming in Adams County. You know this area very well. Going through your growing up in Adams County and off to the Wharton School of Business, quite an accomplishment there. And now you're down to Washington. What could you speak to that adventure?
No, it's been quite an adventure. I think you hit the key word earlier. What's different about how I approach Congress. I'm a Democrat. But everything I do is bipartisan.
Okay.
And because of your business background, and I've been working for myself for 37 years since I was at the Wharton School of Business. So I've got that total bipartisan focus. And that's really, how you get stuff done.
Right.
You got to build relationships with people, understand your goals. And, you hit the nail on the head. The things I work on in Washington are, the addiction crisis.
Right.
We've lost over 1 million people now to overdoses since 1999, 105,000, Mayor, just last year.
Right.
And the other piece, of course, is mental health. America is suffering a real mental health crisis, depression, anxiety. Our kids who've been locked in front of a computer versus talking to one another, and spending time together.
Right.
So that's another major issue. And the other piece is medical research. We need to spend dollars to develop cures. And right now we have such phenomenal technology, the NIH, the more dollars we give them, the more things they're going to cure. And the return on investment is like $8 to $1. So we really get America, the world, we get our money's worth, out of all that dollars that we spend at NIH. And, but as you say, it's been quite a journey, growing up on a 200-acre farm in Adams County. We lived about 5 miles outside of the town, and we've farmed corn and hay and wheat and had a lot of John Deere tractors. I've driven a lot of time plowing and harrowing and planting and hauling chicken manure. We had 55,000 chickens. They were layers, which meant we got 13 tons of chicken manure every day. So we had to clean that out too. And I always make a joke that prepared me for Washington,
Right.
because there's a lot of manure in Washington, and there's a lot of dysfunctionality. And but I love the farm and would have stayed in that business had we not got overextended. My father had a drinking problem, and that led to some bad decisions, his alcoholism, and we went bankrupt. And the banks took the farm, they took our house, or I would have been a farmer. And so at age 28, where I had gone after college and going right back to the farm, I decided I had to go to get more education, and we're going to go get a job.
Right.
And so I went back and accepted it. A lot of different business schools. I've always been a good student. I love academics. So I got in pretty much everywhere. And I went to the Wharton School of Business and began to, first I brokered eggs, and I was an egg broker for over a year. and I would buy eggs from Ohio and sell them in Mississippi. And I had a farmer that sold me his eggs in Pennsylvania up near Harrisburg. And then unfortunately, the chickens in all of Pennsylvania mostly got the avian flu. So about 4 million chickens were destroyed, including the chickens that I brokered the eggs for.
Wow.
So that business lasted a little over a year, and I did well with it. And so at that point, I opened up a small beer and soda retailer, probably about 4 times bigger than this room, and had one good idea: sell things cheap. So I'm kind of the Walmart of the alcohol business in the United States. Then that business has, grown, and starting with that one small store, and now I have 230 stores in 27 states around the country. And my company is called Total Wine and More, and we're the largest retailer of wine and spirits. We sell vodka and scotch and bourbon, in the United States. We're bigger than Costco.
Wow.
And so we have 12,000 employees that work for me,
Wow.
and my team. And we're based in Bethesda, but our biggest state is Texas, and after that it's Florida, and then California.
Right.
So we've been very lucky, very fortunate, and to be able to do that. And we got into, as we've been more successful, my wife and I have, through our foundation, have done more philanthropy, and we saw an opportunity when a congressional seat opened to try and do philanthropy on a scale that I couldn't imagine, and I couldn't do myself. And that was spending some of your money, Mayor, your tax money, to try and get people in Washington to make thoughtful, bipartisan, and every bill I do is bipartisan. All the bills, they're all bipartisan. And I set up, and I'm co-chairman of a addiction and mental health task force. I've got 140 members. So out of 435, 140 are on my team. And we put out 70 bills this year, all bipartisan. 15 of those bills I wrote myself. And there are all kinds of things on mental health and doctors and, addiction and recovery housing, and, how we help people in various stages of addiction. And, I think we're slowly making a difference. But it's more frustrating by a factor of 100, because in business, it's all about merit. Whoever gets up the earliest, whoever works the hardest, whoever has the best ideas wins. In Congress, not so much, not so much. So, but we're making, I feel like I'm really beginning to make headway. I'm in my second term, and, we still own the business. The business is still growing. I have a CEO that runs the company, and he does a great job. And they're going to build 18 new stores this year around the United States. And, but I'm really making a difference, I feel, on mental health, addiction, and criminal, and, medical research, and how we invest in that. And so, I'm happy with the choice, and I'm excited now to have Emmitsburg as part of the district. So the district has changed. So now I have all of Frederick County, 100%. So before, I had the city of Frederick and certain parts of the county, that I've always had Washington, Allegheny, and Garrett counties. So I spent a lot of my time, a majority of my time, in Western Maryland. And I told Western Maryland I wasn't going to leave Western Maryland behind. There's more needs, more challenges in Western Maryland with jobs, healthcare, addiction, opioid deaths, needing for broadband. And now I have all of the rest of Frederick County. So it's a real chance for me here in Emmitsburg and Thurmont to get out, meet all the mayors, and meet the people. And try and explain to them that, I'm a Democrat, but everything we do is bipartisan. But I'm at heart a business guy. I mean, that's who I am. And you're successful in business, but you don't care about people's party. You care about the man or the woman and what their values are and what they're trying to accomplish. And so that's, my mission. And, I'm not here for the paycheck.
Right.
I'm here to get stuff done. And so I'm excited about having all of Frederick. And it's going to be fun to have a new constituents.
Right. Well, that's quite impressive. We have a homeland security facility right here in Emmitsburg.
Right.
And fire academy and everything. And we'd hate to lose it. And I know you'll be there for us on that. I hope.
Yeah.
It's good jobs here and it's stability.
No, and in Congress, it's, those things I work on are important, but at the end of the day, I bring that business background, which is jobs.
Right.
The more jobs and the better paying jobs we can create, that's building the America that we want. We all want that together.
Right.
So we got to keep what we have and we got to expand it and make it more successful. And I've been lucky in my second term, I got on the Appropriations Committee.
Right.
I learned pretty quickly, follow the money. And, that's hard, really hard to get on the Appropriations Committee, especially in your second term, because everything that flows out of Congress, all the money comes through that committee. So there's like 20 some committees, they authorize bills, but even though you authorize $100 million to work on mental health, you don't spend anything until we appropriate the bill. So we can appropriate without a bill even, or we can appropriate with a bill, and we can appropriate more or less than what the bill might have been.
Right.
That's the committee.
Okay.
And so we're working hard to work on that, to bring grant monies to all the different folks in the district.
Right.
And as you talked about, the community funded projects, which we're very fortunate to have a high number of ours accepted. And you mentioned those, last year, and this year we have even more community funded projects in. And I'm very confident we'll get those. And it's about the towns and counties telling us what they need. And then coming together, everybody, bipartisan, to show the support with letters and town meetings and, resolutions passed. Then that's what we take to the top appropriations and then get it done.
Right.
And so I like that.
We'll take care of our homeland security facility here, but
Yeah.
I know your time's really dear. You've kind of touched on it. What your biggest accomplishments are? Is there anything else while in Congress?
No, I think it's bringing a different mindset to a government that has become more and more isolated. All of us live in the middle. We're all in the middle.
Right.
We're not on the left extreme. We're not usually on the right extreme.
Right.
And, we need to be in the middle. We need to work across party lines. We need to work together. And if we can do that, and that's the example I set. And, in Congress, I'm always on the Republican side, getting people on my bills. Because if I have Republicans on my bill, I pass the House, and then I get 10 Republican votes or more,
Right.
or unanimous often in the Senate.
Right.
And so you gotta work, together.
Okay. Frederick County, seems like traffic's always, how do we get down back and forth? But I know a lot of people are working at home, and drugs seem to be the fentanyl silent assassin. Is there, what do you see the biggest challenges for Frederick County?
Well, Frederick has to have controlled growth, and jobs are important, and that's key. But Frederick has a history of farmland,
right.
And last year I was endorsed by the Farm Bureau,
Right.
and I understand farming, and I support family farms.
Right.
And some of my neighbors were dairy farms, and some people had beef, and some people had fryers,
Right.
and we were layers and hogs. And so the family farm has been disappearing in America because it's so capital intensive. It takes a lot of money, and you've got to figure out how to pass it on from generation to generation. So we've got to be able to protect that ability also. So as someone that has a farm, they can give it to their kids so they can farm.
Right.
So those are important, parts of protecting a way of life. And America's always had this vibrant farming community. Pennsylvania, actually has more farms than pretty much any state in the country, because the whole central and northern part of Pennsylvania, we call it the T. is agriculture.
Right.
And so Pennsylvania is a big farming state. And, Maryland, my district, is, very, very strong in farming, and
Right.
even more so now with Frederick. So we've got to make sure we listen to the farmers, sit with the, hold some town halls with the
Right.
Secretary of Agriculture and understand the farming issues
Right.
so we can represent the constituents.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for spending time with us this morning. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our community?
No, I think just we're excited to get out and meet folks in the community.
Right.
So, and most important, we're here for constituent services. My office, I think, is probably the best, bar none,
Right.
on constituent services. If you're having a problem with government, your unemployment, your visa, you're having a veterans problem, it doesn't matter. It's a government problem. We work for you.
Okay.
And I learned this as a retailer,
Right.
because I'm a retailer and I work for my customers.
Right.
Well, now my constituents are my customers. So we want your problems with government.
Okay.
We want to hear about them. So you can reach out, call our office, email our office. We'll get back to you immediately and we'll work to get them resolved. And we're good at that. And because we understand the importance of great constituent services. And we want to bring that to the rest of Frederick County.
Cool. Again, thank you for your time today. And to the Frederick community, Emmitsburg, northern Frederick County, and southern Adams County. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Congressman, for coming with us today.
Mayor, it's been fun. It's a beautiful rainy day.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
We always take rain. Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye.